Very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Newsfirst Weekend. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at your stories making headlines this evening.
Inferno consumes 200 acres of the Knuckles Reserve. Leopard which attacked and killed a woman in Navalapitia captured. Final Randoli Perahara of the Asala Festival parades the streets of Kandy. Over 138,000 people affected by the drought in the Polonnaruwa district. Sri Lanka's bowlers set up a 7-wicket victory in the first test against Pakistan.
And now for the stories in detail. The fire which erupted in the Knuckles Reserve in Hunaskiri has destroyed about 200 acres of forest reserve. Air Force Media spokesperson Wing Commander Gihan Senuratna said that a helicopter was deployed from the Air Force base in Ratmalana to assist the firefighting effort. Our correspondent stated that the security forces were also involved in the endeavour to douse the inferno which broke out this morning. Now, meanwhile, around 100 acres of land have been destroyed in a fire that erupted in the Vallavai area in Monaragala. The fire that erupted this morning in the Malevela Reserve in Veerasekaragama Vallavai in Monaragala. Bringing the blaze under control proved to be a difficult task due to the prevailing dry weather in the area, and our correspondent noted that the fire continued to rage on early this evening. The Disaster Management Centre in the Monaragala district stated that steps are being taken to douse the fire with the assistance of the security forces. This forest fire is suspected to be an act of arson. $178,392 persons from 62 Gram Seva divisions have been affected by the drought that is affecting the Polonnaruwa district. The District Disaster Management Centre says that the Dimbulagala and Madhuragiri areas are the worst affected by the drought.
75,471 persons from 56 Gram divisions in Dimbulagala have been affected by the drought. According to the District Disaster Management Centre, 24,332 persons in 26 Gramanladari divisions in Dimbulagala don't even have drinking water. A group of persons who undergo enormous mental and physical stress due to the drought was seen visiting temples today to get some relief. They engage in religious observances in view of the Nikini Poya.
Even though I live in the temple, I too have been affected by the lack of water. There is no water for me to drink and neither is there water to perform the various pujas. There has been a reduction in the number of devotees who come here too as a result of the shortage of water.
People of the Thunmani Piyavara village in Dimbulagala are also suffering due to the lack of drinking water. Instead of engaging in their trades, these people are struggling to find a drop of water for drinking. The only public well and tube well that fulfills the drinking water requirements of these people have dried up due to the drought.
The
people of the Kudababa village in Dimbulagala are also severely affected by the drought.
We have not received any report of any water-related illnesses from those affected by the drought. We supply around 450,000 litres of water from around 32 bowsers to all those affected daily. We haven't received any reports of any dysfunctionality from any of the divisional secretariats.
The Department of Meteorology forecast that drought-hit areas will not see any significant rainfall until next month. Intermittent minor showers were experienced in several parts of the northern, north central, Uva and eastern provinces yesterday. Florin Rajendran joins us now with the weather forecast.
A very good evening and welcome to Weather First. Showers can be expected in the next 24 hours in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and in the Gaul and Mathura districts in the southern province. Now, the Met Department forecast that thunder showers could also spread to the northwestern province. Thunder showers have been forecast in the Uva and eastern provinces tomorrow. Now, let's take a look at the weekly forecast for the rest of the towns and cities. death and destruction continues to rain down in Gaza as demonstrators gather from Tehran to New York in a global day of rage to protest the Israeli offensive. Join me, Florin Rajendran, late in the bulletin for a comprehensive report.
Still in local news, today is Nikini Full Moon Poya Day, and this report focuses on the significance of the Nikini Poya. It was on the Nikini Full Moon Poya Day that the first Sangha Council was held under the auspices of Maha Kassapa. Nikini Poya is also important as it is the second Poya of the Vas season, which commenced with the Asala Poya.
Buddhist devotees in Sri Lanka must not restrict their principles and good deeds to Poya days. It is important that they focus on the importance of the individual Poya days and develop themselves physically, psychologically and spiritually.
The first editions of the books The Budun Vadimaga and Sri Darada Harasaranya, a book on the historic temple of the Truth Relic, were presented to President Mahinda Rajapaksa today. The presentation was held at the presidential residence in Kandy.
The book Siridalada Harasaranya was compiled under the guidance of the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Askiri chapters of the Siam sect with the support of the Diyavadana Nilame of the Temple of the Tooth Relic, Pradeep Nilangadala. The endeavour was coordinated by the District Secretariat of Kandy, the Ministry of Mass Media and Information and the Department of Government Information. The book has been primarily authored by Professor Venerable Hanguranketa Dhirananda Thera, Professor G.B. Migas Kumbura and Professor H.M.D.R. Herath. The book Budun Vadimaga has been authored by Venerable Galasiripura Dhammaloka Thera. The book centers around the walk undertaken by the monk to invoke blessings to defeat foreign forces opposed to Sri Lanka and to invoke blessings on the government led by the president for the effort taken to rebuild the country.
The final Randoli Perahara of the Asala festival in Kandy is currently parading the streets of Kandy. Let's cross over live now to Kandy, where crowds have thronged either side of the road of the Perahara. Well, you're currently viewing the visuals of the cultural spectacle that is the Asala Perahara in Kandy. Moving on to other local stories, Newsfirst Ashin Thadaka at the Uva Bureau filed this report earlier today on election preparations in the province.
Candidates are now eagerly awaiting the issuing of candidate numbers, having submitted nominations for the Uva provincial polls. Responding to inquiries made by Newsfirst, the district returning officer in Badula noted that it may take several days for candidate numbers to be issued. Election fever is yet to grip these areas, and a possible cause is that the key political parties are yet to hold major campaign rallies. However, propaganda posters had begun cropping up in several locations last night. The police took steps to remove this material today. Recently, our cameras also captured footage of bundles of posters of a certain candidate being prepared for transport in a vehicle belonging to the Badula District Office of the Ministry of Construction, Engineering Service, Housing and Common Amenities. At a media briefing held in Colombo today, the police warned that election laws would be enforced to the letter. Several sub-teams of the Special Task Force have been called into Mahyanganaya. Police headquarters has issued instructions to all OICs and senior officers to enforce election laws to the letter. If anyone says that this is the sole responsibility of the police, we will not agree with that. The competent authorities of the relevant parties, candidates and supporters must all ensure that they uphold election laws.
Up next is the battle for Uva.
The number of mobile phones in the country is larger than the population. When we went to school, we used to write letters to girls. Some of the ladies here may know this. But at present, our children and grandchildren don't do this. They send SMSs and don't get caught. At the end of the month, you get a thumping bill for hundreds of thousands. There is no point in reprimanding the government because this is what progress is.
People cannot have 3 square meals. They do not earn enough to eat. This government cannot solve the problem. It will not be solved in the future, and it was not solved in the past. Shouldn't you think about this today?
When we think of election results, we can see a picture of these sisters raising their hands. We believe that the brave women of Uva Bandaravela will shoulder this responsibility.
When they banned people speaking out against a regime that betrayed the people, wasn't it those in the JVP that had the courage to raise their voices? Who is the opposition today? This is not a government that should be sustained with more votes. Why should we continue to vote for this?
No matter who the candidate is, this government cannot be defeated, so they level various accusations at this government. They say that narcotics were brought in during the time of this government and that alcohol consumption increased. There are various such accusations, but as people who live in this country, you know whether there are such problems in our villages.
Who is speaking about the heroin container and ethanol container that were brought down for the village youth to start killing each other? Who has been arrested for that?
And now a special segment before the ballot.
This is the historic Ravana at the waterfall. According to folklore and myth, the king of ancient Sri Lanka, Ravana, hid the kidnapped Sita at this location. This 25-meter tall waterfall is a popular attraction for both local and foreign tourists. In spite of the numerous notices and waste bins provided, visitors to the Ravana Alla continue to litter the premises, causing untold environmental harm. Residents point out that visitors to the waterfall discard food wrappers, which are then left for them to clean up. They do not even come here to take away the waste that has been collected, he says. They point out that it is the relevant authorities' responsibility and duty to ensure the purity of the environs of this scenic waterfall, which in itself is a strength to the national economy.
The Lanka Private Bus Owners Association alleged that there have been irregularities in the issuing of license for passenger transport on the expressway. The association's president Gavin Vijayaratne, speaking at a media briefing convened today, commented on this issue while transport authorities rejected the allegations that have been levelled.
The private bus service fulfills 75% of the country's public transportation requirement. A total of 21,000 private buses are in operation. However, private bus owners say that as passengers have opted out of the bus service for various reasons, they have been made to retire 4,000 buses every day.
At present, there are only crowds in the mornings and evenings. The industry is collapsing and revenue has fallen by 50%. Revenue is only made on the expressway services.
However, Vijayaratne claims that there are irregularities in granting permits for expressway services.
12 temporary permits were granted. Of the 12, 7 buses are using amended permits that have expired. There was a major racket. The National Transport Commission, Private Transport Services Ministry and the Minister too are planning to declare aging buses belonging to bus owners in Mathura as new buses and provide permits to their loyalists.
A cabinet paper was presented and tender provisions were introduced for all inter-provincial routes through this cabinet paper. I wish to state responsibly, Honourable Speaker, that we have acted within the tender procedure.
It is a baseless lie. I challenge the minister to show that 8 buses were not given for the Colombo-Galle or Kottawa-Galle expressway and that not a single tender was granted illegally. There is such a permit in this list. The permit has been issued on the 4th of July 2014. However, the bus has been purchased on the 8th of April 2014. We have the proof. Reject these 8 rogue permits if you can. I will resign if you prove otherwise.
We intend to provide these permits under the proper procedure, in accordance with the law and via the cabinet.
We have asked for 50 buses. We have decided that if we do not receive the 50 buses, then as an association, we will go before the courts and take steps to obtain the 50 buses and do justice for our members.
The Presidential Commission to investigate into complaints regarding missing persons convened for a 3rd day at the Mannar District Secretariat today. Several people turned out to testify before the Commission.
Commission Secretary H.W. Gunadasa noted that 62 persons were called to give testimony to the Commission. 46 persons turned up. Bishop of Mannar, Right Reverend Rayappa Joseph, also expressed his views to the Commission today.
Anything, what you are doing or what we appear to be doing must be acceptable to us. That's what I am concerned. We want to see that there is something meaningful about being made, and it's going to result in something good towards reconciliation, which is the key point.
Speaking to the media, Bishop Rayappa Joseph expressed the following sentiments.
If the individuals who have wronged the people come before them shedding tears and accept their mistakes, that is true reconciliation. It is through this that we will have true peace. Since the government and those in the government are working towards political purposes instead, the people who suffer don't have solutions. We do not see a true aspiration to resolve the problems of the Tamil people within them. This commission is a commission of the people who force disappearances. That is the truth.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
The payment of compensation, which has been taking place since Thursday via the Galin Bindunueva Divisional Secretariat, has provided some measure of relief for farmers from Hurlueva. However, when looking at the events that led up to the payment of compensation, it is evident that the sum being provided is a pittance in comparison to the hardships undergone by this group of farmers. It must also be mentioned that it was the ad hoc actions of a public official that culminated in this payment of compensation. The official in question is the former Secretary to the Ministry of Agriculture. This official, who currently holds the post of Secretary to the Ministry of Special Projects, which has been tasked with a number of undertakings, including combating the spread of kidney disease in the Rajarata region, incidentally ordered soybean farmers in Hurlueva to cultivate an imported seed variety against a backdrop where the farmers already possessed the seeds they needed to cultivate in the last Yalla season. While Action TV had already reported on the matter on several occasions, the Minister of Agriculture, who visited Hurlueva on the 8th of August last year, was able to confirm for himself that the farmers who had followed the Secretary's order had reaped more flowers than soybeans. As per a promise made to the farmers on that day, a group of 1,590 farmers were to receive compensation for the lost harvest within the space of a month. Compensation was based on an estimate that each farmer would in a normal harvest season reap 900 kilograms of soybeans from an acre of cultivated land. Farmers in Hurlueva who have been cultivating soybeans since 1986 usually reap 1,200 kilograms of soybeans from each acre cultivated in a single harvest season. Although the farmers decided to forego the additional 300 kilograms in the hopes of receiving some relief, they had to wait not 1 month but 8 months for any mention of the payment of compensation. Accordingly, the farmers took their grievances to the District Secretary of Anuradhapura on the 22nd of April.
We have received 110 million rupees and preparations are being made to pay compensation in full. Therefore, you do not have any problem.
As a result of the District Secretary's promise also proving to be an empty one, the farmers decided to meet him again on Wednesday, but were made to meet with the additional District Secretary instead. As per the payment of compensation that has now commenced, each farmer receives only 8,500 rupees.
I have only received 4,300 rupees. I raise dairy cows. I would have been better off staying at home and cutting grass for my cows. I wonder if they are going to give me the other half at the next harvest when I am dead.
අපි මේකේ ඉහළට දැනුම් දෙන්නේ.
If this is the manner in which they are treating people who have suffered, we cannot understand how they will work in the future with any conscience.
Taking a look at another one of our headline-making stories, wildlife officers have captured a leopard that attacked and killed a woman in Navalapitiya. The wildlife department says the big cat is to be handed over to the National Zoo in Dehiwala.
The wildlife department notes that the leopard was captured in a nighttime operation by wildlife officials at an estate in Navalapitiya. The department notes that the leopard, a 7-year-old female, was healthy and strong. Director General of Wildlife H.D. Ratnayaka noted that it had been decided to temporarily shelter the animal at the National Zoo in Dehiwala as it could pose a threat to human lives if released to the wild. The animal, which was taken to the wildlife office in Nuwara, was handed over to the officials from the National Zoological Gardens this afternoon. On the 16th of July, this leopard had attacked and killed a woman in the Bakepal area in Navalapitiya.
Up next is our special segment, Is It Solved?, where we revisit problems faced by the public previously highlighted by Newsfirst to inquire into whether they have captured the attention of the relevant authorities.
On the 8th of July, Newsfirst reported on the environmental destruction that is being caused as a result of sand mining in the Mahavali River in Girandarukote. Inquiries reveal that the destruction is continuing unabated.
Following a raid by the police, the sand mining stopped for about 2 to 3 days. Now it has recommenced. We question as to whether there are separate laws being enforced on either bank of the Mahavali River.
On the 4th of August, Newsfirst reported on the inconveniences caused to the public at the main bus stop in Badulla as a result of several ditches in the vicinity and the dilapidated drainage system. The mayor of Badulla informed Newsfirst that a sum of 14.2 million rupees had been allocated to make repairs.
The tender process will conclude next Tuesday. Once that process is completed, the Municipal Council and the Badulla District Secretariat hope to expeditiously commence work on the bus stop.
ඉතාමත් කලිනමින් ආරම්භ කිරීමට නගර සභාව බලාපොරොත්තු.
On the 28th of July, Newsfirst highlighted the plight of these villagers who put their lives at risk every time they cross this rope bridge across the local Oya, which connects the villages of Galge Kumura and Vagala. This matter is yet to capture the attention of any authorities.
Up next is a special segment on development initiatives around the country, A Better Tomorrow. Kandy. Visitors to and residents of the historic hill capital have to put up with constant traffic congestion and the lack of parking spaces. The Ministry of Defence and Urban Development, utilizing aid from the World Bank, is now devising solutions to this age-old problem. The renovation program is centered around the road system, bus stop and car parks. One of the measures undertaken by the Urban Development Authority was to construct a separate bus stop for short-distance bus services in Kandy. It is to be declared open following the completion of the General Facilities and Information Centre. The bus stop also has connections with the railway station with the construction of an easy access walkway for commuters. Doubtless, these initiatives will contribute towards Kandy become an efficient and serene city once again. Minister Bandula Gunwardena says that the government will not allow bills which contain even a single word that has not received the approval of the Mahasangha to be adopted in Parliament. The minister made this statement at an event held to present credentials to Venerable Kittalagama Hemasarathera, who was appointed Chief Sangha Nayaka of the Western Province.
The credentials were presented by the Chief Prelate of the Amarapura sect, Agda Mahapandita, the Most Venerable Daldananyani Sarathera. The ceremonial fan was presented by Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa. Becoming a good monk is not an easy task. You have to listen to countless reprimands and allegations. You must have immeasurable patience to embark on this journey. We want to have a respectable demise. We want to pass away respectably. Although various persons make various plans, it becomes law only after Cabinet approves it. As we all know, within the Cabinet there are various opinions and arguments which may or may not be revealed. I wish to inform you all, with the guidance of the Sasana at this time, that President Mahinda Rajapaksa's government will not allow any bill that contains even a single word that has not been approved by the Mahasangha, led by the Chief Prelates, to become law in Parliament.
ලංකා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සම්මත වෙන්න මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ආණ්ඩුව ඉඩ තියන්නේ නැති බව මම මේ අවස්ථාවෙන් ශාසනාලයෙන් ඔබ වහන්සේලාට.
Today marks the final day of the Construction 2014 exhibition, which is being held at the Sidimawa Bandaranaike Exhibition Hall in Colombo. Large crowds flocked today as well to the Construction 2014 exhibition to visit the more than 300 trade stalls showcasing the products of numerous sectors within the field of construction and engineering. The exhibition, organised by the Sri Lanka National Construction Organisation, was declared open day before yesterday by President Mahinda Rajapaksa. A number of foreign companies from countries including China, Korea, Malaysia and Japan were featured at the exhibition in addition to local companies. Newsfirst reporter Sampath Samira filed this report on an accident that occurred in Dompe last night.
One person was killed in an accident involving two trucks at the Galakona junction in Dompe last night. Another individual who sustained injuries has been admitted to the Colombo National Hospital.
Mama Newsfirst reporter Sampath Samira, Dompe Pradesh Sika.
Moving on to sports news now. The rain gods showed some patience today as they waited for Sri Lanka to register a 7-wicket victory over Pakistan to open up the heavens over Galle. Sports First has all the action from day 5 of the first test.
Got him! At the start of play today, Pakistan batting in their second innings won 4 runs for the loss of 1 wicket. Sri Lanka's bowlers struck at regular intervals to have the Pakistanis bowled out by T, having posted only 180 runs. Ravana put on another stellar performance, picking up 6 wickets for 48. Sri Lanka were left a total of 99 runs with 21 overs to be bowled. Mahela Jayawardene opened the batting with Upul Tharanga at the striker's end. Chasing down this target, Sri Lanka lost the wickets of Upul Tharanga for 12, Mahela Jayawardene for 26 and Kumar Sangakkara for 21. Angelo Matthews and Kitruan Vithanage steered the Lankans to victory, with the skipper scoring a rapid-fire 25. The pair reached the target with 28 balls to spare and threatening rain clouds hovering over the stadium. Notably, the heavens opened up just as Sri Lanka scored the final run for victory. Rangana Herath, who picked up 9 wickets in the match, was rightly adjudged man of the match.
Cloud above us, folks. Well, that's not lightning, folks. That's fireworks, but it's just starting to melt down.
Who should be held responsible for the tragic waste of 130 million rupees at the Sugatadasa Stadium? Tonight on Sports First investigative journalism segment, The Bitter Truth, we take a closer look.
The National Athletics Championships, which are a qualifier for the upcoming Asian Games, will employ the synthetic track at the Sugatadasa Stadium. However, the president of the Sri Lanka Athletics Association is displeased with the choice of track. The synthetic track at the Sugatadasa Stadium is peeling away. You cannot run on some parts of the track. The problem is clear at the long jump and high jump locations, but this is the only location we have. Nevertheless, the president of the Athletics Association too cannot pass the buck on accepting responsibility for the state of this track. This report, which contains the signatures of Director General of Sports Ranjani Jayakodi, the President of the Athletics Association Palita Fernando, veteran athletes Sriyani Kulawansa, KM Jayathilaka, DRA Godamuna and UL Chamila Pereira, makes it evident that the minimum qualification of the contractor for this synthetic track has not been considered. The tender document at Sugatadasa notes that the contractor must lay 5 synthetic tracks which have a Grade 1 certification of the International Athletics Federation. However, as per this report, the contract has been granted to a company that does not fulfill this requirement. It is questionable as to how this report provided not only a recommendation but also a decision to grant the contract to the company in question. Former Deputy Director of Sports K.S. Piri says that all stakeholders, including the Minister of Sports and the Sugatadasa Authority, have only attempted to save face in the matter of this report and have thus deliberately allowed an irregularity to occur. If there are problems with the technical committee, then the tender committee has the ability to go beyond them and cancel the tender or take appropriate action. Nothing of the sort has happened in this case. They made attempts to have this declared a synthetic track of acceptable standard by obtaining testimony to the same from veteran athletes like Sunil Gunawardena, Derwin Pereira and Susantika Jayasinghe. We see this story as being similar to the one of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. The Bitter Truth has constantly highlighted the fact that an A-grade certificate for the synthetic track at the Sugatadasa Stadium was obtained, deceiving the international athletics body as well. Authorities led by the sports minister, who vehemently rejected this fact, have now been made to accept the reality. Will this tragedy too go down in the history books as an instance where the responsible parties failed to punish those who line their own pockets under the guise of undertaking projects for the development of sport?
Well, that's a wrap from the Newsfirst theme for tonight. We leave you tonight with some live visuals of the final Randoli Perahara of the Kandy Asada Festival, which is currently underway in Kandy. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great week ahead of you. Good night.
මේ ලෙස හෝ මොනෑම ආකාරයෙන් දැනගෙන හෝ නොදැනගෙන අංකම්පුර සටන් කලාවේ පෙරහුරුකුයි මේකෙන හැර දක්වන්නේ.
දූල්වෙල උඩවෙල හා පරණකම උඩරට ලීකිලිකරුවන් දළදා පෙරහරේදී වික්‍රමාන්විත පානවා. පෙරහරට අඩිපාගෙන මේ රණශූරයන් හටන් සෞන්දර්යයෙන් ජන හදවත් සතපවනවා.